Hey guys, WheatyWaffle here today, and we are back in the city of Westfield. If you don't know where this building is located in our city, it is because we built this during our live stream. We are right outside of the city in this brand new area called Long Eugene that has about 6,000 or so population, and it is really just meant to expand the population of our city so that we can begin to work on. I want to try to build the ore industry, and in some of my sandboxing and testing for that, until we got more people, we weren't able to do that. So this whole area is meant to just kind of help fill in the need we have for jobs, for industry, and just really start to make our city, have more people available to work. Now you'll notice that with this new area, we have surpassed the 100,000 mark, which is fantastic, and almost like it was meant to be. When I tried to load the save file, it was really challenging. It was running into a lot of issues. It crashed a few times, which usually doesn't happen for me with cities. So I think we're getting to a place where the game is kind of starting to tap out a bit, at least for my PC. I did go through and lower some of the graphic settings, so hopefully that will let us do a few more episodes here. But if you notice, just things look a little bit less crisp and less clean than they usually do. It's because without lowering some of those settings, now that we've passed over 100,000 like individual things running around this city, the computer was just having a difficult time. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into what we're here to do today. What I want to do is I want to try to do what we can to expand this population of this area just a bit more. Right now, we have huge demand for residential, and the demand for industry is slowly creeping up. You'll notice in this area there is no offices. There are no buildings that are going to serve that industry demand, and I purposely want to save that because I want us to be able to build an ore mine when we get a little bit further along. So I want to try to fill in these demands for residential and commercial, and then we'll jump into filling that industry in a later episode. So what we're going to do today is I want to look at this area here, this hill, up until this darker green line. It's still relatively flat, and I want to kind of fan out this higher density downtown area. So if we want to go and jump in here, we do have this bike lane that's going this direction. I think that's where we're going to end it. So let's go ahead and just upgrade this road to a grass lined road. I want to come up with a back for these higher density buildings. They seem a little strange to not have kind of something behind them closing them off, and then once we've closed these guys off, we'll switch over to the lower density. So let's just bring this out. We'll leave space. Actually, I was going to leave space for a path, but it looks like I haven't. So let's just go ahead and cut that there. Okay, that's not too bad. And then over here, I really would like for these to kind of close off. So we might even bring a road from here. And when I say close off, I mean, I really want these higher density European style buildings to kind of all back into each other if possible. I think they just look nicer that way, and so if we could, I would like to try to achieve that throughout this whole area. And then let's give this one more road. We could do a diagonal, which is a little strange, so let's just go straight across. We're going to lose some population, that's okay, but then these buildings here, before they get too big, let's actually change these to lower density housing. So let's go ahead and just fill all this back in. And what this is going to let us have is kind of just like an enclosed space like this. Then we might put in courtyards and things like that later down the line. But for now, I'm just going to go through and try to get as many people in here as we can so that we have tons of people ready to work at the ore industry once we open that up. And then let's just check our zone, or what is this, districts. So we're going to change all this. This will be the high density European style. But then I think starting from here, maybe we'll also do this block as well. This can be the European style. Let's just cut that off with a road, just like that. And then the rest of this area, we're going to do the European suburbia. So we'll give this guy one more bit of high density housing. And then let's go ahead and just try to do a rough road layout in this area. So we'll do a quick time lapse just to make that happen. And then we'll jump back into some live gameplay. so now we have this road layout here. I even extended the train line just a little bit so that we have this coming all the way to this stop here. There is no external connection. I know I could download a mod for that and everything, but I think for now we'll probably just leave this train station here, and this will be like the terminus for this line. One thing that I do need to then go back and edit is whatever line this is. I believe it's the regional rail, so it actually comes all the way from, what is this area? Crest Park, all the way down from Crest Park, stops over here in St. John's, and then comes into the city and goes all the way through. So now let's go ahead and look at, let's unpause. Oh, actually, let me quickly water all this and then we'll jump right back in. All right, so this area is completely watered, and I did just quickly go in and give it a district. So let's go ahead and give it the European suburbia style. And then this guy here still has, all right, European, perfect. Now let's just get some zoning done. We'll unpause it. Some things are not gonna have power in the immediate, and that is okay. But we've got these high, well, hold on. Everything over here doesn't have power, and that's not okay. What did I, oh, because I removed some of those houses. Here, let's actually adjust this line so that it would be where we want it. We'll bring this down. And I think we're just going to cross the street and follow the road all the way down to the very edge. There we go. So now we have all of this zoned and watered. Let's go ahead and just do some, or not zoned and watered. We've made it into a district. Now let's actually go ahead and zone it. So all of this back in this area is going to be this low rise building. So all of this can be painted. I think this might be like a little tiny park here in the middle. We have tons of parkland around here already, so there probably won't be a whole ton of parkland that we need to add. But let's just try to fill in as many people as we can in this back area. So let's fill all of this. This might be a touch loud for some of them, but they're just gonna have to get used to it. We'll bring this all the way up and paint all of this. And then I want to end this area with just some lower density houses, but we'll leave this road leading to the park maintenance building and our eco bus depot empty, so that all of this can have houses too. This is going to be quite loud, so this actually might become the park. Let's fill this in. We don't really need a park in this space, but let's fill in, I think, all of this back half stuff, and then maybe we can put some services along there just to help with some of that noise. Over here, we're going to put a high school, so we want to keep that open, and then let's just try to do this here, filling in all of these back areas. And it looks like our demand for housing has plummeted, so we probably are going to be just fine with zoning all of this. And then before we do anything with commercial, let's go ahead and put down, where's the, yeah, here we go. The organic and local produce. I think the size of these buildings and just the height and the way they look is going to really complement all of our European style buildings well. Okay, we'll put some along this edge, not on that little side road. And then we will put some here lining our way into this downtown. Here's going to be our park, or this the heart of this area. Maybe we will actually add a few like stores here and there. So maybe these two plots, maybe this is like a small little commercial corridor. And then over here, we do have some businesses here, but I do feel like somewhere in here should be some additional businesses. That is not where that was supposed to be. Hold on. Maybe that can actually all go in here. So let's change this around a bit. Let's erase all of this. And instead, let's put some of these commercial buildings in this space. Okay, so all of this is going to start filling in. Now what we want to do is put in our services, because it's going to be a slow fill. I don't think we're going to move too quickly. We do have a hospital over here as well as that research center. We could do with some death care for this area. So maybe we'll actually put let's put the high school first. Then we'll put the cemetery wherever we can get that to fit. If I anarchy this in here, What does that look like? You know, it looks okay. The hedge really does just like straight up intersect, but if we go like this, maybe turn it just a bit. There we go. So we'll put our high school here. Let's turn off, move it, and then let's try to fit the cemetery. We could fit it across the street, but I would like to use this space as much as we can. Maybe we put the cemetery along one of these side roads. Right here. We have another one at the far end of the park. That'll be okay. And then just for good measure, let's throw down, one or two of these crematoriums. These we might tuck a bit further away over here in the commercial district. We'll put two together. And then let's also put one of these yoga gardens in here. Maybe just like kind of right here on the corner. It does do some funky things with the zoning or with the terraforming. I did try to smooth out the area, but because we are dealing with just unlevel terrain, there is going to be a little bit of clipping and a little bit of cliffs here and there. All right, let's use these suburban lines just to reconnect all of this up. We'll turn off anarchy. Now we have power to everything. We've got an high school. We probably should do an elementary school. We've got one over here, but we really need one up in this area and one over in this area too. So let's put a elementary school. Maybe we'll put one right next to the high school. And then over this way, because this land is all on a hill, why don't we try to sneak one in this one of these flatter areas? Maybe right there. Okay, so we've got 3 high school or elementary schools. We have a high school. I don't want to do a university, and actually let's go ahead and give this the policy of schools out. So with schools out, the citizens will prefer working over education, and only small portions of eligible citizens will go to study at university. So we'll go ahead and just make sure these people get through elementary school and high school, and then they'll move right into the workforce, which is fantastic for us because now what we want to do is start building some more industry. We'll go ahead and do recreational use. We'll do parks and recreation in this area. We're not going to do, maybe we'll do a tax relief for low density because it's so far away from like the rest of, everything. It's pretty close, I guess, to the downtown, but like all of the city is over this direction. This is kind of the far flung edge. So if you're living over here, we'll give you a little tax break. Now let's look at the fire and police. So we've got a large fire station over here. It's doing a pretty decent job. Wouldn't hurt to maybe stick just a small one in here somewhere. Maybe we'll put it right here on this corner. And then we'll do the same with the police station. We don't actually have one over here at all. So why don't we take this large one? Is this the large? What is it? 60,000? Perfect. Police headquarters. All right, so we'll put a large one here. Maybe we can we never filled this space during the live stream. So maybe we can go ahead and just put in, will a parking lot fit? It will fit. It will just barely fit. And while this is just kind of filling things in, we'll just do some really, really quick detailing in this area. Now we've got a nice little space for our police and fire. It's kind of a bit overgrown right in the middle here, but that works for me. And then coming along to this side, we're slowly beginning to fill in. Allegedly, there's not enough workers, which actually disappears when you get this far out. We already did our education. We're going to do transportation here in a second. Let's go ahead and make sure that all of this has some kind of parkland or something that will allow this area to level up, and then we will move on to our transportation. So why don't we give this high school, I'd love to give it one of these. I mean, these are a little bougie, but why don't we try to squeeze one in here? If we were to put this, if I were to put this here, it's going to intersect, and that's okay. But if I were to put it here and then we move it, bring it to this height, Doesn't like really work perfectly, but we could kind of take these roads and just try to make this work a bit. That's not too bad. And again, we'll you know, smooth out the land, try to make it look a little bit nicer. And then I think what we do is in this area, we just put some paths. I know we have this huge park over here that kind of feeds into this almost, this is listed as a park. It's really just some trees to help protect from the airport. But why don't we go ahead and just put, you know, some paths in here to help connect this area up. I don't think this will be a decorated park per se, but it will be some kind of park that our residents can use. If we come to this spot, let's go and give this a nice triangle. And then maybe this one can actually come around and cut into there. There we go. Then with most things, we're just gonna go in here and do a little tree brush. It's a very dense tree brush, so it doesn't need to be that dense. Bring it along the back here just to kind of separate from the highway. And then I'm actually going to delete all of these trees because we're about to put in our own. And I don't feel like we need all of that. And then let's bring this strength down even more just to kind of fan it out a bit. There we go. Let's mark this as a park area. All right, so now we have this little park area. None of these have enough workers, which is going to be a huge problem. They need workers, and we've got all of this zone for pedestrian or for residential. So we're just going to have this speed up, and we're just going to let it run and see what we can do. I do want to come up with some kind of maybe like tiny interchange for this area. So why don't we take just a 2-lane road? Doesn't have to be grass line, doesn't have to be fancy. We'll bring it to here. Let's go ahead and send it up into the air. So we want to go up, I think 23 would be enough. And again, it's going to be tiny. It's not going to be anything fancy. It's just enough to get people to and from this area a bit easier. So we will have a road that comes down. Let's go ahead and actually, let's curve this. And let's turn off connecting to the nodes. Let's bring it down to, how far is this out? 7 and 7. We'll do 6 and 6, so it's 12 units. Let's turn this guy back on and connect up, and then let's turn it back off again. Turn it back off. Man, the clicking is like not working. 6 and 6. So now we're back down to 0. Go and connect this up. Let's flip all of this. It is unfortunate that they have to cross over each other, but I don't think that this area is going to be used that much, so it's going to matter. Let's actually raise this guy. Let's do this. Turn off. Move it. Yeah, let's raise that. It's a bit smoother that way. And then we're going to do the same thing here on this other side. So we're going to bring this straight on down, probably about 12 units. Turn off the node connector. And we're going to connect it right on in. And then we'll do the same on this side. So we're going to connect to this. Bring it over 12 units. Bring it down to the ground. Connect it right on in, and then let's just flip it. So it's nothing fancy, but it's just enough that it can help hopefully service this area a bit easier, especially as more and more people move in. Now right now it's looking a bit like a ghost town because everything is abandoning, but as more people move in, we're already going up. We're at 140,000 or 104,000, 105,000. These people will eventually start getting some staff. Okay, so we've got highway connection. We've got this kind of quote unquote park. Maybe we add a tiny park. Let's do like a dog park. Here we go. It fits perfectly right behind these houses. So we'll stick a dog park in here. It does cover this area pretty well, but we could maybe even get away with one more I don't really like the tropical garden too much. Maybe we do like just a plaza over here. It's supposed to be, you know, a business area. We do have some abandoned buildings that we could easily build over top of. What's this one? Oh, this one's much smaller. I think this one's good. Those are both abandoned. So why don't we build right on top of that? It's this little plaza. All the people who work in this area can kind of walk on over. Healthy Weeds is not looking very good. Okay, so now we have this connected. While this area slowly finds the people it needs, let's work on transportation. We already have a train line, the suburban rail, regional rail, that comes all the way across and down. So let's bring this all the way to here. And then don't worry, people, you're going to get it back. We'll add that stop both directions. So now we have the regional rail. It comes all the way from Mill Heights through Long Eugene, through Aleutian Flats to the downtown Central Station, all the way over through Bryant Park. It stops over here. Oh, both at Brazilian Square and at Bryant Park. It stops again over here in Brook Gardens, cuts over St. John's, and then Crest Park. So it comes all the way along this far edge, which that's going to really help this area get the people that it needs. Now what we want to do is also add some bus lines. I think that's going to be super helpful because if we get to this point, we now need to get you up and about and around. So let's go ahead and put a bus stop directly in front of our train station. We'll cross over this main avenue and we'll stop. See, this is like the business area, so I do want to stop relatively close. So let's stop right in here next to these buildings. We'll come on over and we will stop. Do we want to service this whole area? I think we'll do one that kind of services a bit closer of an area. So maybe this will, actually, let's go back. Let's keep this here. We'll pick people up from the train station. And then we'll do one that kind of comes up and around this downtown, and then one that comes a bit further out. So this first one, I think we'll stop here instead, right in front of the high school. I think that's gonna get a lot more usage. We'll come over here. And do we want to loop all the way around this? Actually, I think we do. So we'll stop here in front of the high school. Maybe we'll move it up one to here. And then we'll come down along this way. We'll stop here right at the start of the residential area, as well as again in this area, which will be filled with people as well. And then this is going to go every few blocks, just kind of along and down this back edge. We'll do one more here on this edge, and then we'll bring it back to the train station. So that's just kind of looping that direction. The opposite loop of this, which is going to come along this back road as well. So we're going to follow this again, just because this road is kind of the edge of the city. We'll bring it around. Instead of doing it here, just because it's so close to the intersection, we'll scoot it up just one more. And here we'll go ahead and stop really close to the intersection because of the direction we're facing. Then for this one, instead of stopping here, let's stop on this road instead. So we'll stop here. We'll stop a few blocks further down. And instead of connecting right up, we'll stop once again kind of in the business area. And then we'll loop back up. And maybe we'll move this to the actual avenue instead. Or maybe we'll move it up. Is this all too close? They're a little close. But that's okay. That just gives this whole area a little bit better service. Kind of looks like a fish. Oh, wait. Speaking of fish, where's that fish market? Did we ever build this? Fish factory, fish market. Takes in fresh fish from harbors and farms and sells it directly to customers without processing it into goods. Has some noise pollution, but overall does provide a quality service. All of these buildings here are abandoned, so why don't we go ahead and anarchy this right in here. It did not remove any of the buildings, so hold on, let's see if we can make this thing work in here, and this could be kind of what this whole town is about. Yeah, there we go. This whole town kind of like thrives off of the fishing industry that we have over at Port Aleutian. Ooh, here we go. Let's give this a little path. There we go. All right, so now you have a good cut through there, as well as the fish market right across from the train station. Ooh, I like that. Does this employ people by chance? It might. This sold 33 workers. Great. That's not going to be nearly as many workers as one of these buildings. This holds 12, and if you have a whole block of them, that's a ton more. But it does kind of give, a purpose to this little area. Back to the bus lines. We've got this kind of fish-looking bus line with our fish market in there. Now what we want to do is also kind of get some bus lines through this area. Now I'm thinking I kind of can see there being some kind of central loop over here. We've got some good grids around this area, so if we had a bus line that came from this side, stopped over here by the school, as well as let's skip that one. Let's come to here instead. Does that cover everything? It does. So we've got a bus that stops over here by this attraction. We have it come over here to the senior center. I think we bring it, let's bring it down. We'll bring it down over here so it's helping service all of these people. We'll bring it in front of the cemetery, as well as over to this area, and then we're going to bring it up. So let's go ahead and cut up this direction. Stop in this more rural, or not rural, but more, lower density, more suburban area. And then we'll come to the hospital and back again. So let's just do that same loop. This is more of like the inner loop. Kind of services the people who mainly live here. It's not directly connected to the train line, and the focus of this line is more of getting people from this neighborhood just kind of in and around their neighborhood. Okay, then I want one that uses this train line. So it comes down here, it'll loop itself back around on itself, and then when it comes out, it can really go any direction. So why don't we take it, we'll take it up and share a stop with the larger looping line. But then this one will actually come along the back and maybe go up this larger hill all the way to the far edge or into the middle. I like into the middle. So I'm gonna come along the far edge or into the middle here. It'll come up, maybe share this stop. But then this is gonna curve back down and around. Maybe share this stop here. Yeah. It'll share this stop here, and then it'll come back to the train station. And then we're going to do the reverse of that. So we're going to have one that starts over here. It's going to come on up this way. It will share this line. And the whole reason I'm sharing at least a stop or two with these other lines is just so that people can kind of transfer with where they need to go. We're sharing with that stop. Technically, it should come down here and loop back out and around. So let's go ahead and just do it. Why not? So now we've got a more local loop kind of going in a circle. And then we have a... Oh, I haven't named any of these in quite some time. So let's do this one. This is going to be LE... What is that? That is clockwise. This will be the LE train clockwise. This will be the LE train counterclockwise. Let's go and just make these, I don't know, make these white. Okay, this guy here is the LE local, and this is clockwise or counterclockwise? Clockwise. Okay, so the LE local, we'll make this a nice, seafoam green, and then this is LE local counterclockwise. We'll also make this kind of like a sea foamy green. And then we have these two here, which kind of go around Mill Hills. So this is going to be Mill Fish Loop clockwise, and we'll make it kind of a orange color. And this can be Mill Fish Loop counterclockwise. And again, make this kind of an orangey color. But now what we've got is we have something kind of going in a circle here, servicing these areas and also connecting back to the train station. Since there's not as high density, I don't think we need a more internal line. This bus line here is going to do just fine. Over here, we have this green line, which is meant to really service the 6,000 people that live in this district. External people can use it too, but it's mainly meant for the people who live here. Whereas this white line is connecting people who want to get to maybe, a house that will eventually build up here. If they get off at this train station, they can get on the white line, loop around, jump off here, get on this orange line, and maybe come to this stop. Or they could do the same, but we're just giving multiple options for the people who live in this area to kind of get around. Do we have people waiting here at the bus? We have people waiting. Let's see if we can catch a bus. We can. This has 5 people. All right, let's go ahead and follow this line, this bus along its route. All right, we're back at the front, and we've been able to actually pick up people and fill or clean out every stop every time we've gone around. Now, there were some stops along here at this top route on Pleasant Street that didn't really have any people getting on or off at this point. A lot of this is because currently there's no one living up here. But once this zoning fills in, and it will in time, in due time, once it fills in, we should be good. Why don't we go ahead and actually just clear off the zoning from this back road just until everything's filled out, and then when there is a need for more zoning, we'll go ahead and fill that back space as well. Water availability is getting a little bit wonky, so why don't we build, I'd love a water tower, and maybe we'll stick it kind of right here in the middle of the kind of the fairway. Transportation, we have a train line that is connecting to everything else in the city. You can get anywhere using these trains. And then we've got 3 lines that are helping connect people through these areas, especially these higher flung areas that are a bit harder to walk to. I am curious how these other lines are going. Let's just go ahead and do lines overview, and let's get a sense of how all of these buses are doing. So if we click on the Millfish Loop counterclockwise, we've saved 83% of trips. That's fantastic. And there are no stops that are overly taxed. Okay, Millfish Loop clockwise. This one has saved 100% of trips. So this one, the clockwise loop, is really doing what it's supposed to. It's not super active, but because the buses are frequent enough, we're saving 100% of trips for this area, which is great. LE local, this has saved 40% of trips. So it's not as efficient as our other loop, but it is picking up a decent number of people. This stop still has 12, so we are moving people to and from, which is great. What is that? That's counterclockwise. Let's check the clockwise. The clockwise loop has saved 80% of trips. Again, no stops that are too packed. Great. And now the one I'm most curious about, let's check this white loop, the LE train, which connects directly to our train station. This has saved 100%. Which is fantastic. This does have a pretty packed station here, but if we look right in front of it, this only has 5 and this only has 3 passengers. So by the time they get here, they will be able to empty out this particular station. And then that is the counterclockwise. Let's check the clockwise. And this has saved 75%. I'll take it. The one green loop isn't fantastic, but the other loops are doing their job and doing it well. But with that, guys, where are we at now with population? 106,000. This Mill Heights district has nearly 2,000 people, and Long Eugene has passed 7,000 people as well. So now I think we've really kind of filled out this latter down half of the city, and this all leads into the actual downtown section. It looks fantastic. We do need to do a bit more work here on this port. Well, again, once we get an ore industry, which we've kind of just been trying to build population up so that we can staff that ore industry, we will be able to build the final factories that we don't yet have in the save. And then I do think that there might be a bit more expansion of this suburb just to this other side of the highway to kind of fill out that area. But even this interchange is doing well. this interchange, although it's busy, doing well, and things are looking good. Guys, thanks so much for watching our video. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this part, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you want to see next time, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.